Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to answer which of these giant car manufacturers and sellers is the best stock to buy. I'm going to compare these car companies on four metrics and then answer which one is the better dividend stock to buy. Of course, I will start with dividend yield, so let's get right into it. Stellantis NV offers a dividend yield of 7.89%. Ford, meanwhile, offers a dividend yield of 4.26%, and General Motors offers a dividend yield of 0.93%. Now, I often say dividend yield is not a critical factor for me in terms of making an investment, but I know a lot of investors are interested in companies with a very high dividend yield. You certainly have two out of those three here with Stellantis and Ford. But remember, when you're making an investment in a dividend stock, you're exposed to a total return. That means you get your dividend yield plus you get the change in stock price. And so it's important to consider the change in stock price more so than the dividend yield, because that's often what will be more volatile and can lead to greater investment gains. So the next metric I wanted to compare these companies on is revenue over the trailing 12 months. And Stellantis, the combined company after the merger, became a 187 billion annualized revenue company, compared with Ford at 165 billion and GM at 160 billion. But more importantly, I want you to notice the recent trend line here. After bottoming recently, right after the pandemic outbreak, these companies have done very, very well. Sales have exploded. Customers are paying above manufacturer's retail price at some times to purchase vehicles, and the supply chain shortages have really worked in these companies' favor. Now, there's no telling how long it will last, but as long as it does, these three companies are benefiting from that shortage. The next metric I wanted to compare these three on is operating profit margin, and Stellantis doing the best here in the operating margin with 11.76% most recently in the trailing 12 months, compared to 7.38% for Ford and 6.65% for General Motors. Notably, Stellantis has been slower to roll out its electric vehicle transition, and that could be one reason why its profits are better, because it's not allocating billions of dollars as much as Ford and GM might be on a percentage basis, and that's allowing it to sustain better profit margins because the ICE cars are such a cash gusher right now. They're trying to capitalize on it for as long as they can, which has some investors concerned, and I'll show you how concerned in the next slide. The final thing I will compare these three on is valuation, and what you could see is Stellantis is the cheapest by far compared to Ford and GM. And again, the reason why it's the cheapest is because of those concerns I mentioned earlier. It's slower to roll out the EV transition, which has investors concerned. Hey, that's where the industry is going. We're eventually all going to drive electric vehicles, so why aren't you getting on the boat here? And so there's the concern from investors in Stellantis, allowing it to be sold for a forward price to earnings of just 3.3 compared to 5.9 for GM and 7.84 for Ford. However, if I was to pick one of these three car stocks to buy today, I would pick Stellantis. I like the slower rollout of the EV strategy. I understand EVs are going to be the style of the future, but I also um, kind of understand the slower rollout. Let's wait and see. Let's capitalize on this cash gusher right now. We don't need to roll out electric vehicles tomorrow. There's still worldwide less than 15% of overall sales. 85% of overall car sales are, ICE. So let's capitalize on that while we can. And so there is the pro and con here, and it remains to be seen which strategy will turn out to have been more effective. But I like that I'm already getting Stellantis stock at less than half the valuation of Ford and GM. So even if it is not as effective, or even if it is behind in the rollout and it ends up costing them, you're getting the stock at half the valuation. So, I'm attracted to that. So if I had to pick, I would pick Stellantis, NV as my preferred stock to buy from these three. But that's all I've got for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.